You're watching the 5 Minute Bark Podcast on YouTube. If you like this episode, you just may like many more. Subscribe today by clicking the red subscribe button in the top right-hand corner. Hello everyone. Today is going to be an interesting day. We're going to be going way back. One of our original podcasts on the 5 Minute Bark, we had a singer on, and today we've got another one. We've got Chris Dixon here today, and we're going to start out with a little song. Chris, it's all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Soak in this day like never before. Soak in this day, let it carry your course, 'cause you only live this moment once. So you live it and you lead it to where your heart will see it, but you gotta believe it, yeah. Then you can be it, and then you, yeah. Do you remember what you came here for? Do you remember? Do you remember what you came here for? Do you remember? And darling, do you believe in fate? Do you believe in destiny? And darling, do you believe in yourself? And do you believe in me? And darling, do you believe in something more? And have you been discovering and remembering? Remember. Do ya remember what you came here for? Do ya remember? Do ya remember what you came here for? Do ya remember? And darling, do you believe in fate? Do you believe in destiny? And darling, do you believe in yourself? And do you believe in me? And darling, do you believe in something more? And have you been discovering and remembering? Remember. And when you find you're in the right place, you're in the right time. And when you see things are exactly the way they should be, it's so easy. And when you know that anywhere you go you can see eye to eye, it's alright, it's alright.
Chris Dixon, everybody, here on the 5-Minute Bark. Oh my God, that was so beautiful. I mean, because I can hear it through the microphone here. It's just so beautiful. I can't wait for people to hear this live.
Thank you so much.
Chris, thank you for coming on the show here today and singing for us here today. Everybody, we've got Chris Dixon. He's a yoga educator of mind, body, and spirit. And you know, I'm always all about this stuff, and I'm really excited to be talking to Chris here today in our show. And thank you again for that beautiful song.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me to play it and for having me on today.
Yeah, this is exciting. So Chris is from Melbourne, Australia, and he's in town for his dad's wedding. And so we got a chance to catch him on the mic here today, and we're going to have him share some great things today about yoga, mind, body, and spirit, and how you can kind of bring it into your daily practice. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, my name's Chris, and I'm originally from here in San Diego, and for the last 6 years or so, I've been based in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a long-term yoga practitioner and a facilitator and educator as well. I incorporate yoga into my daily life, and I just love the practice. I love it so much. It just helps me feel connected to my body, helps me feel present in my mind, and allows me to enjoy my life a little bit more. And from that place of balance, I'm able to share that with those around me. And I just love, I absolutely just love it. And there's so many different elements and facets and capacities of this practice. To feel strong and open in my body, so I'm feeling empowered physically, and to feel focused and clear in my mind. So, like I said, I'm able to be present with the moment and enjoy the process. And then also to connect into something deeper as well, which I just love it. And the idea that we want it to be able to be functional too, so that we can bring it into a daily practice. And my practice will look different from someone else's practice and someone else's practice than the other, just so that I really emphasize this idea that a practice should be functional and should be able to meet you where you are. You have to have a starting point so that you can enjoy it. Even going on a walk in nature, or any kind of simple movement, or just having some stillness to yourself can be an amazing practice and a good starting point.
It's funny because yesterday I spent 4 or 5 hours working on myself. So I was taking a course of Alex Sharfin, and really we kind of are going into yourself and connecting with what your root situations are. And this method that we used, it ended up finding out that I am just trying to rush my day. I'm trying to I'm always behind on time. And it just really kind of made me realize that, okay, the more you rush, right? The more you rush in life, the more you don't get done. The more you stop and do 55 versus 85 miles an hour. I'm not saying you want to do that, but you are able to get things done just as fast because you're just more thoughtful of what you're doing. You're more conscious of what you're doing. You're more focused. And today in society, more than ever before, meditation and yoga is needed more than ever before to slow us down, right, in our daily practice.
Absolutely.
And slow us down into to realize that, what are you rushing for?
Yeah, and then when you're coming from that place, everything just kind of seems to pass by. It's almost like liquid silver through your fingertips, missing the moment, perpetually caught up in the past or rushing into the future. And even on a physiological level, it's affecting, you're running from a hyperactive nervous system, and the mind is scattered, and you're, kind of missing it, like you said, just kind of rushing through it. So any practice or any ability to just kind of slow it down and drop it in, and then you're operating for more of a peak performance, optimal performance, like you're saying. Then you can get things done with just your full attention, and you're with the process. And so I think not only are you operating from a higher place of performance, but your outcome, and you can enjoy the process, but then the outcome is also probably a bit better.
Yeah. If we go and we have a rushed conversation with somebody, we have a deep, slow conversation with, which one's more memorable, right? So whether it's a conversation or an experience, would you rather have one that's rushed to get to the next one? We're trying to get a quantity of experiences in our lives, but we don't realize now, or maybe we are realizing now, that one amazing experience is far better than 100 experiences that just kind of passed by.
It's just a little bit more rich, or kind of saturated with meaning and attention. I love that idea. Attention is vitality. So yeah, rather than that quantity of kind of dispersed attention and vitality, you just have that one really saturated, kind of ripe conversation or moment.
Yeah. They're worth considering.
Absolutely.
For sure. So tell us about your practice and how you've got into it and why you're so passionate about it. I mean, you're very passionate about this, and, not too many people are very passionate about what they do.
I am. I'm absolutely so passionate about it, and my heart is absolutely in it. It just reaches me to a heart and soul level. I was exposed to the more traditional yoga practice when I was a kid, just kind of by happen chance and by my interest and kind of subtle impulse. I ran into a teacher. She was an older lady, and I ran into her, and she guided me through and into the practice of a way of just connecting into my body and connecting into that meditative quality of mind and tapping into a deeper connection with my spiritedness or soul or whatever you want to call it, just my energy. So she really kind of helped guide me through that, and I didn't really know it was there, and I wasn't necessarily looking for it, but some part of me, when it came, realized that how satisfied I was, that I was on some level I was kind of looking for that or searching for that. So that was the introduction to the practice, and for many years I've kept in relationship with it and cultivating that daily ability to just move into my body, to get into the body as a way to just really drop in. And
I like that term, drop in.
Drop in. Yeah, it's just
so
full embodied experience.
We kind of come out of it during the daytime, and then
totally.
we have to kind of like a wetsuit, kind of like drop into it, go surf.
Totally, exactly. I love that analogy. And there's thousands and thousands of reasons in a day to be out. Yeah. Technology or scheduling, whatever, modern day lifestyle, there's thousands of reasons to be dropped out. Right. So how can I actually, incorporate that into my daily lifestyle and drop it in?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the journey, and over the years I've just continued to cultivate that. And I love this idea of the yoga tradition. It's thousands and thousands of years old. So it's a long-standing tradition and amazing teachers. And as a whole, they define yoga as a state of being, just in a state of being in wholeness, connecting with self and connecting with those and life around us in harmony and in participation in a place of wholeness. But also practically it comes through as a system. So it's a system of connecting into the movement of the body in such a way, focusing in the mind in such a way that we can connect into a greater sense of spirit. So it is, it's a practical approach. It's almost like a scientific method that you can repeat it again and again every day and get different results sometimes, similar results sometimes, but hopefully just creating a nice sense of balance. So I've continued that for a long time. I love it. And as I grow and evolve in the practice, it comes through in different shapes and forms. Sometimes it's very strong and rigorous, and sometimes I really need to just check into that empowerment and that strength. Other times it's a little bit softer, more therapeutic, and I can check into that healing and something a little bit more soft and tender. And to each extreme, or each, through that full spectrum. And I just love that ability. I also approach it in a creative way. So I love to, find ways, how can I move in a way that feels good or is expressive or creates an opening that feels good, or, bringing music into the practice. I love doing that too. And I think it's a way to create ambiance and connect into that. So that's kind of at the core of the practice. But the whole idea to me is that it needs to be functional. That we're living modern day lifestyles, and most of our listeners will be, Westerners, I imagine. So we're, how do we incorporate an Eastern model of, mind, body, and spirit into a Western functioning world? So it has to be functional, and we want to be able to enjoy it. So I think an amazing starting point is just baby steps. What can you do in your daily life that will bring you into a bit more balance? It doesn't need to be a traditional yoga practice. And there's so many different styles of yoga, just like there are different styles of music. So there's different colors and shapes and flavors of the yoga practice. Some people will be very attracted to one form, and some people will be very attracted to another. But as a starting point, it's enough just to continue to do what you're doing, but weave into something that can bring some more mindfulness in. So if you're taking a daily walk, that can be your practice. Or if even just cleaning the house in the morning, that can be your practice. That's
a practice sometimes, right? So give us an example if you're maybe engaging in a lot of scatteredness during your day, whether it's something. You're driving around doing errands, and all of a sudden you want to just realize you need to chill out. What's something you would engage in that's maybe a minute long or 2 minute long or a 3 minute long type of yoga meditation situation? Maybe is it holding your arms? Is it holding your core? Is there something that you specifically do?
That's an amazing question. And there's so many different ways to do it. I think a very core way to do it is just connecting into the breath. I always talk about the breath as a lifeline into the body and into the moment, because if you're with the breath, you're here. So it's a great way to just drop in wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the middle of a conversation, you can be in the middle of traffic, or you can be in the middle of nature and connecting with your breath. So I like to use that as kind of an axis to orient into the moment. So if you have a couple minutes in your day, just take a moment to sit down, let your weight drop, gravity moves through you, and then bring your attention into the way that the breath is moving, and the way that it's changing shape in your body, and the way that it feels, where you might have sensation. The breath can fill the ribs and it can fill to the belly. And as you trace the breath, also start to open up your other senses, so you can start to listen to the sounds around you, inside or outside. And you can start to check in with the temperature on your skin, maybe a subtle taste or smell, or what you're seeing. Maybe you're seeing, if your eyes are open, you might be seeing, the space around you. If your eyes are closed, you might be seeing your inner space. And that's just enough. And as a starting point, 2 minutes is great. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can do. And there's that funny idea. It's if you think you don't have time to meditate, you should probably be meditating a little bit longer.
Yeah, right.
Or doing something that can bring a little bit more mindfulness and to bring
I can see that you're
balance.
very excited. I like this.
Oh, totally. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You're very excited. So, as a yoga participant, and I think many other probably would have this question, is we're always taught, you kind of just explained it, but I want to kind of jump into it a little more. They're always asking us, but they're not asking us or showing us clearly enough the breath, how it really, really plays a big role from maybe a scientific or a meditative or a spiritual way. That breath, how is it such a game changer?
It's a great question. And just on a very practical kitchen floor level, the breath informs our physiology. So the way that we breathe sends information to our body and into our mind. So if I'm having a stressful day and I just need to drop in for a couple minutes, have a seat, and I'll start to deepen my breath, that will immediately send information to my nervous system. I'm in a safe place. My body knows it on a primal level, so my nervous system starts to down-regulate and starts to relax. And then that will then in turn communicate and inform my muscles and my tissues that it's okay to relax. So the stress that I'm holding in my shoulders starts to kind of melt, and I relax into my chest and into the full body. It starts to relax. And then as I continue to keep that depth and smoothness of breath, that will then communicate to the organs and all the glands and the chemistry in the body. And that also reflects into the movement of the mind. So the kind of the firing of the neural pathways and synapses and all of that will start to also kind of settle down. So it's this amazing ability to just follow the breath, deepen the breath, smooth the breath out, and it will inform your entire body and even the mind.
I use this practice not only when I'm meditating, and I've learned more about, like you're talking about, like, so for example, if I'm working out my biceps, I'll literally see in 3D, I'll just really try to look at the threads of the muscle just tightening and growing and building. And I think a lot of people are not aware of the fact that the more you take your mind into the dissecting and almost even to the cellular level of something that you're doing, whether it's meditating or working out or anything, the benefits are 10, 20, 100 times more than it could ever be. Just one simple set of something by meditating while you're doing it, or meditating and focusing on the same thing, right? Pretty much. Focusing on seeing those muscles grow, or seeing the body breathe better, or seeing your health come to life in a better way. Because from experience, and I'm not a doctor, but I know that meditation and relaxing and taking all this boiled, unconditioned energy that's running around your body and taking out of your body certainly helps people be healthier.
Absolutely.
Cures disease, from what I understand, They say the biggest hell and the biggest medicine you can ever take is a smile. A smile relaxes the body. And I just really love to see people understand the power of breathing, the power of not only just doing yoga, but doing it in 3D, really kind of taking it to a new level when they're practicing.
Well, I love that idea, and I think it loops back to quality over quantity.
Right.
Instead of just rushing, continuing with the bicep analogy, if you're rushing through some curls and you're not really listening into what's happening to your on a cellular level or your joints, and you're just kind of forcing it, then it's not really doing anything that great. So if you bring a little bit more awareness and attention and start to follow what's happening maybe on a cellular level, what's happening to your tissues and your muscles, how are your joints moving and operating together, so it's creating balance in your body. You're not forcing or harming yourself. You're moving with mindfulness. And I think that translates to whatever it is that you're doing. If it's physical work, if it's work you do on a daily basis, it's you use that attention and that focus and to really bring yourself to an optimal performance state. And then you get a better outcome too.
So essentially, if somebody's working at a desk in an office and they don't have time to get to yoga, essentially they can almost practice yoga into the movements they use to type, the movements they use for their eyes on the screen, or maybe even the body, how they're sitting there. They can address a better posture and a better breathing while they're talking, because obviously we're on microphones right now, and if we use our body to project, as you can see, I'm already getting louder because I'm using my body, my gut, not just my mouth.
Absolutely.
So essentially they could be doing yoga in their own daily work.
Totally. Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to be going to a school or a practice to be doing a yoga practice. I love the idea that it can take so many different shapes and forms.
Right.
So if I'm sitting at a desk all day for 8 hours, and I'm just kind of curling in and slumping in, my breath is collapsing, and and the wrists are kind of in flexion all day. How can I be a little bit more aware to use the core a little bit, to roll the shoulders back and keep that nice alignment through with the bone structure? And of course that may not be realistic all the time, so maybe just for 15 minutes at the end of the day you do some wrist rolls or some shoulder rolls, or do the opposite movement that you've been doing all day. So you've been kind of curling, hunched inwards. You could just set up a couple pillows and then lay on the ground in a back bend, so your spine can kind of equalize and find a little bit more of that counteraction to what you've been doing all day, because whatever you repeat continues. So if you're repeating physical movement or physical posture, ideally you want to create balance, so you can balance it out with something else, like using the desk analogy. Okay, I'm hunched all day, maybe I can do a back bend at night to balance that out.
If you could also help people understand posture and how important it is as well. We're talking about now, and I want to kind of go into it, like help them understand how the breathing, the body is easier, essentially.
Yeah. Well, the basis of the yoga practice is posture. And the whole idea is that similar to the breath, the way that the breath informs your physiology, the posture also informs your physiology. So it even changes your mindset. There's like power stances and things like that will really, it changes your chemistry, and it opens up the energy flow. I almost like to call it energy circuits. So energy, it wants to flow in straight lines or in clear pathways. So on a really basic level as well, gravity is moving through us, and also we're supported off the ground, and we want to find clear pathways of support in our posture, whether we're sitting or standing or moving or in a yoga posture itself. So there's an idea of the balance of stability and ease. So I can be strong and stable, but I'm forcing it right now. So how can I actually also be strong and relaxed? So there's a balance, and there's a clear pathway of weight in my posture. So gravity's moving through my bone structure down to the ground. And then my base of support, which is a stool right now, is kind of rebounding this sense of upliftment back through me. And to me, that's the basis of the posture, your stability, your ease, and a clear pathway of support and weight.
This is a good question. It seems like more people are slumping than standing strong and posturous. Why is that happening?
I think it's just attention.
Is it just a laziness or just
well,
a not knowing?
No,
or
not necessarily, just maybe habit even.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll find, in a standing situation, I'll be dropping into one hip, or my one foot is kind of pointing out in another direction, and that feeds its way through the pathway into the hips and through the spine, the shoulders. So over time, that kind of can perpetuate itself.
Yeah.
But also the body isn't entirely symmetrical for most people. So one bone can be a little bit longer than another. So that's only natural too. But a lot of it too is attention. So if you start to be a little bit more mindful around and aware of how you're standing, how you're sitting throughout your day, that's a great starting point. It's a really good starting point. So it's not necessarily laziness. It's just a matter of starting to slowly build attention. And it's all practice in and of itself to all catch yourself. Oh, actually, I'm just kind of, I'm slouching right now, or I'm dropping into this hip, or yeah. So it's just kind of bringing that into your daily life.
I've been blessed with the gift of having my dog, and I have to walk her. And with this mindfulness in mind, I'm like, when I'm going to walk her, I'm going to work on my body structure, posture. So I try to think of kind of like we were doing before we started on the show here today. My body is tall and straight and solid as it possibly can when I'm walking. Like I walk like a robot. Like I stretch my neck out and I stretch my feet out, and my body, every bone is like upright posture. Because you can breathe better, and we all kind of just already talked about that. But it's funny because recently, I've been doing this for a few months now, and I've had 2 or 3 people say, "Hey, Dennis, you seem a little taller. Did you get taller? You got some shoes on." Yeah. I actually had flat-footed shoes on that day. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, it's amazing the things that happen when you start actually paying attention, actually putting it into exercise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that it cultivates over time too. So you're creating that nice healthy joint space, some more space, almost like you've gotten taller. Yeah. You're kind of more mindful space, and that, and you can expand on that over time. That's interesting.
So what is your favorite practice when you're conducting a teaching session or a class?
So I teach a number of different styles. I teach a strong form, I teach a soft form, and everywhere in between. In any class that I'm teaching, I'll consider who's in the room. That's the most important thing. So I'll check in with whoever's coming in, and I'll just kind of watch the way they come in. I'll check with them if there's any, if they're on their feet all day or if they're sitting down all day. It's useful information for me. If they have any injuries, anything like that. And then I'll just kind of watch how they move, and I'll come into it. And over time, I get to know my students, so I can start to encourage them in a path of growth and development in their physical practice and in their other practices as well. But the practice has to be applicable and functional and appropriate to whoever's in the room. So I can kind of read who's in the room, and we'll start to move in a simple way, and I'll just kind of watch people move. And as I watch them, I encourage and just kind of give feedback. I observe what's happening in them. I'm getting immediate feedback of how I can guide and lead the class. So I want to create stability and strength in my students where I observe instability. And where I observe rigidity or over tightness in my students, I want to encourage softness. So again, it's coming back to creating balance in people's lives. So if someone comes in and they're really rigid and they've been, kind of bulking up their body and they can't move or they're tight, then I want to encourage fluidity and gracefulness and ease and kind of moving like water. Now, if someone comes in and they're just kind of floppy or just excessively open, then it's the opposite. I want to encourage toning in and stabilizing and creating strength. And that's on a physical level, but it also connects to an energetic level, because I like that idea that there's no separation between mind, body, and spirit, that they're all the different aspects of the same whole.
Chris, I want to ask you a really personal question here.
Absolutely.
And I want you to take some time to think if you need to, but you're very in tune with this. It seems like you've found your purpose in life. You've really, really found your purpose in life. And, there's so many people that listen out there that really haven't found their purpose, and they're looking for it. And we all know that it kind of comes in a moment sometimes. And when in your life, the specific moment, and why did you decide this is my purpose? Because you're really serious about this stuff. Was there an experience, a momental change? What part of your life that just made this become?
see it as an ongoing process, and I think there's been many of those little moments, epiphanies and aha moments. And the indicator for me has just been following my heart, and then also making that a discipline as well. Because, of course you can follow your heart and you just go with it, but you have to take action too. So all these little moments along the way, I'm listening to my heart and the impulse, the natural impulse in me that's taking me to these places and experiences and practices that bring happiness and health and well-being into my life, so I can enjoy my life and I know how that feels inside myself. And then it's this massive gift of my purpose of sharing that with others as well. So if I don't take it seriously in the sense that I'm really serious about it, but I take a lot of responsibility over it, because I love this practice, and I think I see what it does to myself in creating health and well-being in my body and in my mind and in my life. And I take a lot of responsibility to share that with others. So yeah, just little steps along the way. And I always come back to that. What is it that's my heart is telling me? It's like turning the volume of the mind down, and the chatter. What is the depth of my heart and spiritedness, and my impulse, my natural impulse, like kind of like the song says, what are you here for? What is your passion? What is your purpose? And do you remember? And sometimes maybe the mind doesn't know. I don't really know what I want to do with my life. I'm not really sure, or I'm in a line of work or a relationship that's not quite right for me, and I can't seem to figure it out. And that's okay. I think it's those moments of quiet reflection we were talking about in the beginning, just connecting with yourself, with your breath, drawing inwards and asking yourself, what is it that I'm here for? What is it that makes me happy? And what is it that I wish to see in the world? How can I offer that forward? What are the gifts that I can bring? Not only for my own happiness, but for those around me. I can offer those gifts outwards. And I think that makes my purpose more meaningful in relationships and in life around me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I'm really so glad we had the time to talk here today. Is there any last things you'd like to share? We're already way past our time. We said we'd go 20 minutes. We're at 30 minutes. And is there anything else you want to share about your practice or your training or your retreats or your workshops or anything you want to share there, or any kind of tips?
Absolutely. Well, at a core of it, I'd say just keep doing what you're doing and the things that are making you happy and bringing health into your life and those around you. Little steps are a good starting point. It doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to be this big, scary thing. Just keep doing what you're doing and prioritize the things that are bringing more balance into your life. A little bit at a time is a good start. And there's great teachers out there that you can come visit. You can check into different practices, whether it's yoga or meditation or mindfulness or Tai Chi or running or sport or outdoor recreation. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're just prioritizing the things that are bringing health and balance into your life. And if you feel the connection with myself and you want to check in with me, please come visit me. I'm more than happy and excited to share the yoga practice and share some music and have some good chats. And you can find me online and all the social media outlets, Chris Dixon Yoga. That's my website as well. Facebook and Instagram is the same. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing and prioritize those things that are making you happy and those around you as well.
So Chris Dixon Yoga .com. Okay. Yep. You can also find him on Facebook as well.
Facebook and Instagram at the same, Chris Dixon Yoga.
Okay. Awesome. So thank you for coming on the show here today. This has been great. So much. And you're one heck of a gentleman. Your dad's an amazing gentleman as well. Yes. I've had him on the show. I'd love to get him back on and get him over here to the studio. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, he'd like that. Yeah,
I think he would like that too. But I think he's enjoying life right now with his new beautiful wife. So we're really excited for that too.
Yeah, really excited about it. It's amazing and such a treat to be here to celebrate that as well. And the life, just more room for love, and life just gets bigger and better.
It's great. I love it. Everybody, Chris Dixon here today, a yoga educator, mind, body, and spirit. I'm sure I'm going to be talking to her for another hour after this podcast, but we are thankful that you guys are out there listening here today, and hopefully you kind of learned something in the importance of slowing down, like I have this past week. Slowing down and realizing that quality, it beats the quantity. We thought that quantity for many years was the way to go, and with the revolution of computers, we're trying to get more done, and we're getting nothing done. Sometimes we're just kind of figuring that out. So today is the encouragement of slowing down and getting into your mind, into your body, into your spirit, whether it's in yoga or your own methods of yoga. That's kind of really what we're all about here today.
That's it.
So thank you, everybody. And Chris, thank you for coming on the 5 Minute Bark.
Thank you so much for having me, Dennis. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Learn from the best. I have now interviewed over 130 guests, and what I've learned was mind-boggling. So I've taken this, packaged it into a number of different courses to help you learn cutting-edge techniques my guests took years to learn. We have over 10 courses available, and these courses will reveal secrets on things like how to become a fearless public speaker, master social media, utilize YouTube, branding for your company, and a whole lot more. Each course includes a presentation along with expert advice from different guests from my show in an interview setting. I can promise you this, everybody, these courses are easily valued at over $300 each, and they're not a simple PDF download. So get your first free course here today at free.codiedog.com and start expanding your mind, expanding your education, and get inspired.
Hi guys, Billy Joe Murphy. I just wanted to give a shout out to Dennis and say thank you. I recently got his public speaking course and it was just so amazing, so helpful that I'm actually doing this video right now. Dennis really presented the information with so much authenticity and so much vulnerability that actually made it feel doable. It made it feel like you can do it yourself. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Dennis. You're such an inspiration. Keep shining your light. Your bark is getting louder and wider, and I love it. So here's to Dennis. Thank you so much, and hope to be on your show someday soon, Dennis. Thank you. Mwah. Namaste.
And then I also started taking Dennis's course, and I love the course. There's so much good content in it. One of my favorite sections that I recently completed was the speaking section, the different modules on public speaking, and I recently had a bunch of public speaking events lined up, so watching those videos, it really helped me get into state, get confident, and come up with some really good ideas to have a more effective presentation. So I implemented the ideas, I utilized the ideas, and I saw the results from using the ideas of the guest experts that he interviewed. So I just can't thank Dennis enough. I am so excited to see how my interview evolves. Once you have that interview, you have it for life. You have the footage for life that you can put in a media kit, you can put on your social media, on your website, you can show people. So that is just amazing. And then the skills that I'm learning from the online course to manufacture my celebrity status, that is just invaluable also.
You're watching the 5 Minute Bark podcast on YouTube. If you like this episode, you just may like many more. Subscribe today by clicking the red subscribe button in the top right-hand corner.